Hello everybody, this is Pimpcron again for Battle Report number 3 for Brutality. I wanted to change up the armies just a little bit and not maybe do Flesh and Blood so much. So today we have a Necromancer and his Demon Bride, and a Skeleton Warrior, and a Zombie, and another Zombie that's quite crafty. When he somehow summoned these corpses back to life, I don't know where he got corpses from, but it's irrelevant. When he summoned them back to life, they take on the inherent characteristics that they used to have as they were alive. So, Skins here, which is this zombie right here, I have made him a fast, and he has the Shroud ability as a power. And the reason why is because he used to be a thief when he was alive, so he will have that ability. These are just different ways that you can customize your people. Today they'll be playing in the land of the wilderness. And this is an old base that is long since abandoned and people like to loot it. You see on the right side there's crates here, there's some sort of stasis chamber here, there's a crate all the way up here, and there's a crate over there. These are all looting stations. So of course we're playing kill points as always, and we're also looting. If they roll a 1, they run out of, they can't loot that objective anymore and they don't get a point. If they roll a 10, then a random monster is going to come on the board, and it's just some wild animal. On this side of the board I have a bunch of robots because this is the Cybernetic Consortium. It would be said that at some point robots would be able to develop their own consciousness, and these robots have been either randomly or intentionally selected by Ishtar to join the Ether Realm. So I have 2 ranged over here, I have a melee on the right, and I have a support, and then I have a fast. And they will be going against the forces of the Necromancer, his people. Alright, the Undead turn, they got first activation, so they activated Brisby. He moved up 6 inches. He casted Teleport on Redguard there. He failed it, but he decided to take a wound because he has heal. He took a wound to make it go off. He rolled a 9. He teleported him up 8 inches, so he was back over here, 8 inches. And then he healed himself that wound he just took. Brutus doesn't have any line of sight for his ranged weapons, so he moved and ran all the way up here. Redbeard moved up and ran over to the objective, but of course running takes his activation, so he can't loot. Lash just moved and ran all the way up there, trying to get to that objective. Well, for a zombie, he runs pretty fast. Skins moved and ran all the way up there to the objective. The little red guy named Yeser moved and ran up all the way up there. He's also ranged. Redguard was able to move in there thanks to the help of the teleport. He moved through this, moved over there, and was able to loot. He got a loot point, and that's a victory point. Fixer, the little support bot, moved and ran up behind Lash. Lil moved up from here over to here using her flight, and believe it or not, ran the 8 inches up there. She passed her dex check, by the way, for climbing up there. Skitters, the crab bot, ran up here his 10 inches and assaulted Skins. And believe it or not, they both criticaled on each other. They both rolled 1s to hit, which counts as 2 hits, and they both rolled 10s on the chart. So they both died. They both were dealt 3 wounds each. Alright, it's the top of turn 2, and they had to roll off. They both lost 1 model, so neither one of them gets to automatically go first. Redguard decided that he should take out this support guy right here first. So he moved there, charged the 5 inches he needed, and attacked. He did an amazing 4 damage, and the Fixer only has a save of a 1 or 2. He rolled 3 1s and saved 3 out of 4 of them. He ended up taking -2 dexterity and a wound because of a torso wound. He didn't do anything to Redguard, and Redguard pushed him back 2 inches. Knowing that they probably can't get this high up objective here, and knowing that she's there, Yeser, the little red bot, decided to take aim and shot at her. Unfortunately, he rolled a 1 on the damage chart. He did do a wound, but no additional effects. So she's down to 2 wounds. Redbeard moved in a better position to hide behind this box from these 2 shooters up here, and he got a victory point. He looted. Lash moved from here to around here behind where Redguard was. Redguard was right there, and he attacked him from behind. He got to strike first, and he saved almost all the wounds, but he did take one wound and confused. In the meantime, Redguard attacked back, and Lash got one wound and disarmed. He somehow knocked off that one of his close combat weapons are disarmed now. He's going to have to take his movement to pick them back up, and I guess reattach them. Next, Lil activates, and she gets 1 victory point for looting that crate. On Fixer's activation, he moved from about here around to the back of Lash. He healed Lash's 1 wound, and then he casted Curse on the skeleton. He chooses fighting skill to be the -2 until his next activation, so he has 2 less fighting skill for the next turn, basically. Grisby the Necromancer moves through here and runs over here, as it does not allow to activate because he ran. At the end of turn 2, the Undead unit has 4 victory points to the robot's 1. At the top of turn 3, both teams roll for initiative. They've both lost 1 person. Lash decides to activate first. He assaults Redguard, who was right here before he was pushed back after combat, and he manages to do 1 more wound to him. He saved a lot. He strikes back and is able to do 1 wound and -2 dexterity, and he gets a head wound, which is -2 willpower. But being forced to attack in close combat, he was able to check for confusion. He passed the check and was able to act as normal. Figuring that Redguard is on death's door and surrounded by enemies, I better activate him next. So Redguard moves from here over 6 inches and assaults Fixer. He's able to do 1 damage to him and -2 fighting skill. He hurts his arms. And Fixer does nothing to him in return. At the end of combat, the defender moves back 2 inches. Activating next, Yes Sir drops down here and gets to shoot twice because he took the free 5-inch shot and he's got 1 normal shot. He hits once and Redguard saves it. Bloodbeard gets a victory point for looting. Brutus moves down here to try to interfere with that objective soon. He tries to shoot Redguard, and Redguard saves it. Unfortunately, Lel rolls a 1 for looting, and that crate is empty. On his next activation, Fixer, when he activates next, the curse goes off of Redguard. He tries to heal himself and rolls a 1. It goes off twice, so he heals himself both of his wounds that he had suffered. And then he manages to cast Barrier, so Redguard's going to have to go around that. He tried Curse again, but it did not go off. He was not willing to take a wound to make it go off. Grisby was right there getting objective points, but unfortunately Fixer moved within 6 inches of the objective, which is denying him any access to it. He decides instead to move through the wall. He heals Redguard and attempts to teleport him around this barrier, because you can't go over it or through it for any reason. You also can't see through it. So he can't use his Summon Minor Life and summon some zombie hands out of the ground at anybody, because he can't technically see any enemies, and he fails his casting for Redguard's teleportation, so that doesn't go off either. But Redguard was healed 1 wound. At the end of turn 3, it is 5-1. The Undead are winning by a landslide so far. At the top of the very last turn, Brutus moves down here, which is denying this objective for Bloodbeard, and he tries to shoot Bloodbeard. He does a wound, but he rolls a 1 on the damage table, so he doesn't get any additional effects. Lil takes flight. She drops down here, which is well within her movement, and gets another victory point. Yes Sir decides to try to get a victory point. He moves around this barrier and shoots Redguard. He breaks one of Redguard's bones, -2 movement, and deals 1 more wound. Redguard, on his last wound, charges around this barrier into Yes Sir. He disables Yes Sir and deals 1 wound. Yes Sir retaliates with his close combat weapon, does a critical. I mean his close range, his free 6-inch shot. And he criticals Redguard, earning him a victory point. Flash decides on his last wound that he should try and take out this Necromancer, because right now Fixer cannot get any loot points because the Necromancer is sitting within 6 inches. So he moves around here, assaults. He does 2 damage to the Necromancer and bleeding, so next turn he's going to bleed out unless an ally helps him. Meanwhile, the Necromancer deals the final wound to Lash. Being denied his objective really makes Bloodbeard angry, so he assaults Brutus, dealing 2 damage and a bleeding. which unfortunately will probably not be able to be healed by anybody before the end of the game, and he's probably going to bleed out. Brutus, in the meantime, did nothing to Bloodbeard. The last activation for the android sign will be Fixer. Unfortunately, he's 8 inches away from Brutus to stop his bleeding. This is the very last turn of the game, and really there's nothing he can do. He's got Heal, he has Barrier, and he has Curse. And really there's not a whole lot that he can do to anybody, because the Necromancer is going to be dying in the very next activation. And that's about it. So I think that's the game for the android side. The final person to activate is the Necromancer, and he bleeds to death because Lil may have been able to help him, but she's already activated this turn. And he was the last one to activate, so he has bled to death. As far as the campaign is concerned, Brutus never does bleed to death because it will have to be on his next activation, and this is the last turn of the game, so he does not die. At the end of the game, it is the Necromancers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the androids 3. 6 to 3 is what they won by. Now everybody will be getting 1 victory point for one experience point for getting a victory point, such as killing or looting. They'll also get an extra victory point for being on the winning side, and even if they died, and they will get another victory point another experience point for surviving the whole mission. So at the end of this, Fixer has 1 experience, Brutus 1, Skitters 1, Yesser has 2, Lash has 1, Grisby the next Necromancer has 2, Lel has 3, Bloodbeard has 4, Skins has 2, and Redguard has 2, so nobody levels up. Also, due to dying, Skitters, Lash, Grisby, Skins, and Redguard all earn a new Insanity point. In the upkeep phase between missions, they both decided to explore their area. The first party was led by Brisby the Necromancer. He rolled a 7 and got a new unskilled member, a rookie member, who is this werewolf. I believe he'll probably be fast in the future. I'm not sure, either fast or melee, obviously. Fixer led his party and rolled a 9, which is a skilled new member. And the skilled new member is 1 level higher than your lowest, where no one has leveled up yet for the androids. So he will be level 1 starting out, and I will get to pick +1 stat of my choice. But of course it's not hit points, saves, or attacks. So I will probably do fighting skill for him. But anyway, so they both have 2 new members.